Hi, future naturopathic doctors. I'm Dr. Yvonne Knighton. I'm a naturopathic doctor and an acupuncturist here in San Antonio, Texas. I graduated from the University of Bridgeport College of Naturopathic Medicine and the Acupuncture Institute in 2015 and 2016. My why for becoming a naturopathic doctor stems from my son's diagnosis of autism back in 2002 when he was 5 years old. At the time, there were no services available for him, and so that's where I began researching, trying to find ways to help him in this world because there were really no tools or any services at the time to help him. And so what I found through my research is that what we put into our bodies makes a big difference, and what we put into our bodies makes a big difference, and how we detox from those things also makes a huge difference. And so my son had areas that we needed to work in all of those departments, and so that's what we did. He was never supposed to graduate from high school. He was never supposed to graduate from college, but he did both of those things, and it was through the help of the wonderful doctors that I found and even the professors that I worked with at the University of Bridgeport that helped him so much. So you would never know that my son has autism now. He is my why, and he really is my best success story. So I like to share that story with people. I started my practice after I graduated from school in 2016 here in San Antonio. I shared office space with a mentor of mine. His name is Dr. Louis Esquivel, and he owned the space where I'm staying right now. So we practiced together. He was not a naturopathic doctor, but he practiced holistic medicine, and he was the person that I saw before I went to naturopathic school. So I saw him for my own health issues, which were severe chronic fatigue, which also stemmed from the same things: what we put into our body, how well we detox from those things. And so he helped me a lot with that, and continued to mentor me as I went through school. And he offered me a space in this place, and then he ended up retiring about a year after that. So it's good to have a good mentor. That's point number one. When I started my practice, I received some referrals from Dr. Esquivel, but mostly I got patients from using a local wellness magazine. It's not in print anymore here in San Antonio, and my website. So I made my website when I was after I got done with my acupuncture boards, and I was waiting to get my license to practice. That's when I started working on that, and really that has been my biggest asset. So if you have the time and the patience, or you know somebody that can help you with a good website, then I would certainly recommend doing that. And if I can do it, I don't have a big technical background by any means, then I think anybody can do it. So definitely work on that. The other way I got patients was really through word of mouth, and I did some wellness fairs in the beginning just to kind of get out in the public and start to learn the rest of the holistic community. And so I did receive some referrals in that way too. So really the bottom line is having a good, easy to navigate website that begins the personal connection with your potential patients for the future is really, I think, really good advice. Putting something personal on your website, because that begins the connection. So people are going to gravitate towards your story, whatever your story is. And those are the patients that you're going to receive. And the nice thing about that is that you guys can connect on, a different level and start that healing journey. So I think that those were really good ways for me to get started. So I was very lucky that I was able to do that. So my practice in general is just a general practice. I see infants all the way up to patients that are 90 years old. My specialties are GI health, skin issues, mold toxicity, and hormonal imbalances. So I see the majority of my patients in person, but after a recent TikTok reel that one of my patients posted, I've been getting a lot more patients that I see virtually, so all over the country. I see patients in my practice just 2 days a week. I'm only here on Thursdays and Saturdays, and I work at a veterans hospital locally as an acupuncturist 4 days of the week. So pretty busy person. I work about 60 hours a week, which is probably too much, but it really is to support the mission that I'm here to do in this path of my life right now. So why do I work at the VA? Because as a veteran, I want to be able to share this medicine with other veterans who are chronically ill. And since naturopathic doctors are not currently licensed in the state of Texas, and they're also not recognized in the VA system, I work as an acupuncturist, but I also see a very large number of patients that are kind of acupuncture naturopathic patients as well. So I'm lucky that the people that I work with at the VA are very supportive of my role, and they're open to sharing patients with me that have gotten so much help just from the limited things that I can do. Oftentimes they still have to seek other things outside of the VA. A lot of nothing really that I do at the VA as a naturopathic doctor is covered as far as supplements and things like that. But as an acupuncture, it's still a holistic practice. I can talk about diet, I can talk about lifestyle, I can talk about supplements. There's so much that I can do that is covered under the umbrella of acupuncture. And that is really the reason why, one of the main reasons why I have a dual license. I'm an acupuncturist and I'm a naturopathic doctor, because I knew that I was going to an unlicensed state, and with that license, I'm able to see patients, I can treat patients, I can call them patients. I'm not just a consultant. And so if you are going to practice in an unlicensed state, you might want to think about having another license that will kind of protect you in that way and give you a little bit more ability to treat and give recommendations and not be quite as constricted. Speaking on that note, I do work in an unlicensed state. Currently, we have a bill up for review to license NDs in Texas. It's still a work in process, but hopefully we can be licensed soon. The pros of working in an unlicensed state is that I don't have anybody telling me exactly what I have to do. I'm not bound to follow the rules of conventional medicine. My practice is a cash practice, and so not having to use insurance as a way to make a living is really helpful, because I can free up time by not having to do all those all the insurance paperwork that you have to do, and I'm also able to get the revenue that, without the limitations of what insurance companies will pay me. So those are the pros. The cons are there's things that I cannot legally do, like prescribe medications, order lab work that is covered by insurance, order ultrasounds or x-rays, and also not as always accepted as well by the conventional medical community. However, there's certainly conventional practitioners that really do appreciate the help that I give, and I think that is a good point, is having a relationship with a few MDs in the area that are more holistically minded is going to be helpful for you. I work with I don't work with her, but I get referrals from a OBGYN who we've never met in person, but she sends her patients to me. I send my patients to her. I have a chiropractor that I recommend to a lot of my patients, and he sends patients back to me. Those relationships take time because they need to know that you know what you're doing and trust and things like that. So I don't know that just going around giving your card out to everybody is the best use of your time, but finding out who your patients see as their chiropractor and their physicians and what their mindset is a really good way to start building that network. So when people ask you for referrals, you have a list of patients that you can send to. The pediatric community as well, I am happy to see patients that are not vaccinated, but there is always the restrictions that they experience when they go to a pediatrician who demands their patients to be vaccinated. Obviously, I can't be a primary care physician, so I do recommend that they have pediatricians, but I'm finding a growing network of pediatricians that are open-minded, and they're open to seeing patients that are non-vaccinated. So it's good to be able to give that new mom or that newly pregnant patient a list of people that they can go to and seek out if that's something that they're wanting for their own families. All right, let's see. Moving on. How do I work around this restrictions of being in an unlicensed state? Great question. Let me tell you. So I use paper service labs like ultalabtest.com, AnyLabTestNow, and Quest that allow people to order many of their labs without a physician for routine lab work. So sometimes I'll give them a list of the recommendations, and they get online, they pay for them, they get their lab work, and they send it back to me, or they bring it back to me with their next appointment. So that works really well. I do have a fair number of patients that don't want medical insurance because the services that they get aren't really doing, they're not in alignment with their beliefs and such. So this is a nice way when patients say, I haven't had lab work done in decades because I don't see regular doctors. This is a way to at least get some baseline labs done at a reasonable cost. The rest of the labs that I do are usually functional lab tests for evaluating GI health, food sensitivities, mold toxicity, and hormone panels. I find that these are far more useful to me in my practice in helping people than conventional labs, but it is good to get a baseline lab, and sometimes I need to know if somebody has iron deficiency or B vitamin deficiency or vitamin D deficiency, and a lot of different things. So it's good to at least have the other labs available too. So the functional labs are generally not covered by insurance anyways, and so then it works for me, and it works for most of my patients. I'm a cash practice, so other than a few veterans that I see as a community care acupuncture provider that are insurance-based, that works in the sense of I don't have to sit down and bill all the time. So my suggestion is, if you are going to be taking insurance as a majority of your patients, is to hire an insurance biller. They usually take a fee off the top for the insurance billing, but it may be worth your time to do that, because it is very time consuming to do that and take care of patients as well. So, and oftentimes you're not getting the compensation of what you deserve, in my opinion, for billing insurance. But some people like it, and it works for them, and it does give the ability of patients to use their insurance for a service that they should be able to use it for. So the other thing is, I can't prescribe medications. So if patients have prescription medications, they have to go get that filled with their PCP. So that is a little bit of a obstacle that I haven't been able to overcome. I can't order radiology tests or perform internal exams or do physical manipulation. So those would be the things that I am not able to do practicing in an unlicensed state. But I found, workarounds I don't personally do them, but I have people that I send patients to for those things. What I can do is I can recommend herbs, I can recommend supplements, I can recommend diet, lifestyle, homeopathy, and these are all principles of naturopathic medicine that work under my acupuncture license as well. If I didn't have that acupuncture license, then I could only give recommendations for these things, but I still think it could still be very doable to work in an unlicensed state. So I've been here since 2016 when I opened my practice, and I've been doing fine. I have no problem finding patients or patients finding me. So suggestions I would give that would have helped me in the past, before I started where I am today, is have a person that does your scheduling and billing and collections. If you're going to do this full time, it's worth it to pay somebody to do that, in my opinion, because it frees up time so that you can see other patients, but also for your own mental health and well-being, to do the things that bring you joy and to give you time to replenish yourself. So I have a full-time employee. Her name is Haley, and she does all of my office work for me. So when I come to work, I can focus on patients. I don't have to worry about the back-end duties. She orders the supplements. She gets everything in order for me. She gets all my charts ready for the day. She calls my patients, and she's here on the days that I'm not here, so that if there's any questions from patients, if it's something that I need to address, she can let me know, and I'll relay the message back to her to give to the patient, or just being able to screen patients to see if maybe this isn't something that may not be right for them, or setting up those. I do a 15-minute free consultation with people that are interested in naturopathic medicine and how my services can help them. And that is a good way. I didn't mention that. I didn't write it on my list here, but that is a really good way to screen your patients to know if you're a good fit. When I first started, I didn't really do that. So sometimes I would have patients that would come and have unrealistic expectations of me, or they were not willing to work with the timeline that it takes to get well, or maybe they didn't realize that there was going to be dietary changes or supplements or things like that, or even the cost, how much it's going to cost to do the things that we do. So having that 15-minute phone call usually doesn't take a full 15 minutes to just kind of answer their questions and kind of give them a rundown of this is my approach to somebody with a condition like you, this is my fees, this is the testing that I might recommend, this is the fees for that. So they have clear expectations before they even get to your office. So I would recommend definitely offering that if you can. And then the other tip I would say is have a way to get some passive income. And what do I mean by that? It's like income that you don't have to be here in order to receive that revenue. So one way is my assistant is able to mail out supplements to people. She's also able to do some things that don't require a license to do. So I do some red light therapy, a couple different procedures, and she's able to do that while I'm not in the office. So that's a way for me to get income without having to be here. And then I do sell supplements in my clinic, and mostly just to offer patients a good quality supplement line, not so much that I'm trying to make tons of money off of them. I do discount them so that my patients don't think that I'm just here to make them buy supplements. So I try to make it reasonable and just make it easy. And then I do also use the online dispensary full script as well. That's been really helpful. So that way patients can get online, order what they need, and your hands are completely out of it. The company mails those supplements to them, and you just receive a percentage of the revenue from that. Some supplement companies will provide you with like ambassador codes. So if there's a particular supplement line that I don't order enough bulk quantity to make it worth me getting the discount that they would normally give, sometimes they'll give you a code that you can give to your patients. So when they go on to order those supplements, they could put that code in and it will give you a little bit of a kickback too. So that is pretty much the way Dr. Knighton has been successful in running her practice. A couple other things you may consider is sharing space with someone. If you have a good relationship with another practitioner, or you share a common interest in philosophy, that might be somebody that you want to share space with. I'm not saying become business partners with them, but sharing space will decrease the amount of overhead that you'll have, so that can be helpful. If you already rent a space, renting out rooms to other people or practitioners, if somebody's like, I really only want to have a space 2 days a week, I don't really need to rent the space all the time, then you can work that out too. So that's another way to get some revenue and decrease your overhead. Try not to overextend yourself, setting boundaries, timelines. So if it's really easy to access me because I'm just one person, and if they text on my office number, it comes to my cell phone as well. So being clear about like what you're going to respond to. Now, if it's an emergency, it's an emergency, but if it's just a very minor question that can wait till the next business day, or you can have your assistant reach out to that individual, then do that, because you need to have a full cup when you're seeing these patients. You can't pour from an empty cup, so you have to do things that will replenish you and make sure that you're able to be fulfilled as well in this journey. So, because seeing patients one-on-one every single day can be very, very hard, and that's where practitioners get burnt out. So having a nice balance, these pearls that I'm giving you have helped me. I've made the mistakes in the past, and this seems to be a much better doable situation than it was when I first got into this. So be okay with being different. Your tribe will find you. You'll think you haven't done enough or helped enough people, and then one day someone will post a video on TikTok or come back to you 7 years later and tell you how much of an impact you've made, and then it'll all be worth it. So that's all for now. Best of luck to you, and congratulations for choosing a path that will make the most difference for the people that you serve. Thank you so much for spending this time with me, and I'm happy to answer any questions offline. I'll send Dr. Brandy the information that my contact information. So anyways, take care. Thank you so much, and good luck to you all. Bye.